Yep. The man's going to say something, and the people going to listen to something. Some people going to listen, and they're going to say, hey, that's wrong, and then argue or want to, and then they maybe cussing me a little bit, call me names, threaten me, whatever. However, the good thing is, this is radio. Which means I talk and you listen. And if you want to, I don't know, grumble, mumble, and things, under your breath or whatever to yourself or to whoever might be standing next to you while you're listening to this, okay, fine. Because I don't have to hear it, do I? And if you want to take advantage of the comment section down below, down there, you can make a comment and say, post this or whatever, and I'll read it. And I'll either say something nice or I'll say something nasty. For example, alright, this happened to me yesterday. And so I'm just going to kind of go through it. It's very short. Very short scenario. Alright, I was talking to someone, and I said, it's not a crime to talk to people. And the person I said that to, immediately, almost before the words got out of my mouth, that person said, she person said, yes it is. Now, I said, talking to people is not a crime. And she said, yes it is. Now, I'm not going to tell you who said that. I'm not going to tell you who it was I was talking with and who said it. I'll kind of protect their identity a little bit. I'll put it this way. I will tell you this. It was a family member. And it wasn't my companion. It wasn't my wife. It wasn't my it wasn't her. Now, I dread to think what would happen if my wife, if I had a wife. Do I have a wife? In a sense. There's a whole show there, just talking about marriage. I'm not going to do it now. It's something for you to look forward to, where I will shatter the myths of marriage, at least as it is practiced in America. All right, so the woman said, it's not my wife, and we'll just leave it at that, but a family member, some family member. So I wouldn't, just walk up to my family member that said that, yes it is. I wouldn't just walk up to that person and say, like, shut the fuck up, and bitch slap her a couple times. Wouldn't do that. Hitting is wrong, and it would be rude. I think you could safely say it would be rude for me to do that, and that could be a crime because that would be like battery. By the way, not assault. Because assault is saying, I'm going to come over there and slap the shit out of you. And, me being in the proximity of like about 3 or 4 feet from you or your face, and I'm standing there with my hand up in the air like I'm going to slap you. You're looking in my hand and it's drawn back. It's like, he's going to slap me. And then I say to you out loud in a very threatening way, I'm going to slap the shit out of you. And that's assault. That's what the word assault means in legal terms. It's a legal term. When you're talking about, breaking the law and committing a crime and violating somebody else's legal, inalienable human rights, that would be assault. If I actually lay my hand upon the side of your face, slap, then that would be battery. So keep that in mind forever, because those are the 2 words, legal terms that are, and those are the definitions of those legal terms. And even though the Nazi bastard police state motherfuckers in this country, in the government today, have, turned English into frickin' babble, that doesn't change the fact that the words mean what they mean. Now, that is true, there is a double standard. There are words like just in common usage, like he assaulted the Indians assaulted the fort, or the Romans assaulted the Greek village, or whatever. Okay. That means, basically attacked. Like the soldiers swarmed over the village and killed and plundered, and that would be the Vikings probably. Anyway, rape, pillage, and plunder. Even, to me, it's hard to believe that at some point in human history, there were a group of people, let's say a race of people, or a national, I don't know, race? Would that be a race? Vikings? I'm sure there's another word for that. A gene pool of people called Vikings who lived in Viking land, I guess. You know what I'm saying. You get the point. Who, rape, it's hard to believe, actually, for me, to actually think, a few hundred years ago, there were some people like Vikings who were like, apparently really ugly, nasty people who thought it was perfectly all right to go somewhere, like, go across the bay to another country or another land where there was another village and so on, and just, rape, pillage, and plunder there. And I'm talking rape, pillage, and plunder the people, and murder, and steal, and rob, and, well, that's what plunder means, doesn't it? But the rape part interests me, because these savages, talk about the American Indian people being savages. Why is it white people always call people savages when they're just like, quite simple living people that just don't like being fucked with? And rape, pillage, and plunder. Oh, you're savages. We'll rape, pillage, and plunder you. That's sort of like the mafia saying, we're a saintly group. Really. Seriously, people. So, my mother, I wasn't supposed to say that. A family member. Oh, damn. Let's let a cat out of the bag. All right. Just ignore I said that, and we'll just move on. The family member said, yes, it is. And I'm like, I'm just, I can't just come over there and just slap the shit out of you, Mom. Oh, damn, I said it again. Family member. All right, my mother's 90 years old, Um, Doing pretty good. And pretty sharp. I mean, she's not. I don't think her mind has deteriorated one iota over the years. I think my mother's attitude and behaviors are somewhat modified because of her age, advanced age, but bless her heart, she still drives. And that concerns me a bit, because, driving's kind of dangerous. And I just hope that she, when she realizes that maybe she shouldn't be driving because it's not safe for her and other people, that she just doesn't do that anymore. But when that happens, then I don't think she's going to be content just to stay at home 24/7 and wait for people to come and visit her and take her to dinner, etc. She'll want to go to the drugstore and get her drugs and medicines, and she'll want to go to the grocery store, and she'll want to go to her hair place and get her hair done every week. One of those little luxuries she gives to herself and imbibes in, and that's fine. But I can't. Whoops. Yes, it is. And, I'm like, why would you say that? Because it's not. So why would you say that? But it is. No, it's not, Mom. I suppose it's all right to talk about my mom. To be honest with you, I doubt if my mom's going to listen to this podcast. Ever. And I suppose there could be people that she knows, like my brother, might listen to this and say, I'm going to tell Mom what you said. I don't know if my brother would do that. I doubt it. He's not that kind of guy. And he's not a Viking. So anyway. Hey, Bobby. So, when I said what I said, and I said, talking to people's not a crime. And she said, like, instant reaction. It's like, it's almost as if she was reacting to me, slapping her upside the face, Yes, it is. She didn't say it that way, because my mother doesn't sound like that, but she was very firm in her statement. Like God himself told her that this is true. I'll talk about God right now. So that's just annoying. It just annoys me to all get out. What makes my mother think it's illegal? What? Well, I mean a crime. Now, when I talk about a crime, I mean a crime in the sense of it's a real crime, like robbery, rape, murder, fraud, where another person, an innocent person, shall we say, is violated, their person or their property or their natural, unalienable human rights. Or, if you prefer, I'll use the word freedoms. I like the word freedoms better than rights, because the word rights associates with a system of government as opposed to freedoms, which is something you're born with. Being born with a right, it's complex, and I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll get into it some other time. But the point is, my mother is adamant here. Yes, it is. I'm like, Why would you even say that? Because it is. No, because it's not. And that's not debatable. Now, I've had people argue with me when I say something's not arguable. It's not arguable. Yes, it is. No, it's not, and we're not arguing about it. I said a fact. Like 2 and 2 is 4 is a fact. The sky is up is a fact. And I'm not arguing that fact with you. Anyone, including my mother. And why would anybody want to argue with a fact? At what point in your life did your brain melt and fuse together into like a lump of coal that you think that yes it is, when no it's not? That's a direct contradiction to the truth. Now, you know, the word truth gets battered around a lot. You know, Christians are saying that, we got to spread the word, we got to spread the truth, which, of course, is not the truth. So there's kind of a, something wrong there. And you say, that's not true, sir, Reverend, Mother Teresa, whatever. No, that's not true. And I say it's not true because it's fucking not true. Whereas somebody says something like, the sky's not up, then how utterly stupid are you? Now, I'm not going to say that to my mother. I'm not going to say, Mom, you're stupid. I mean, what good would that do? And like I said, she's 90 years old. What's the point in getting her blood pressure up? She's got a pacemaker. You know, not a good idea to get my mother riled up. That would not just be impolite or cruel. That would be dangerous. I'm not doing it. But yesterday I said that, she said that, and I've got to diffuse this real quick because I don't want my mother having a stroke. She's 90, bless her heart. And, you know, I don't want to be responsible for giving her a heart attack. Even though she has a pacemaker. What I'm saying, you know, so I'm just... But it annoys me. Because why would you say that, Mom? Since it's not true, and what I said is true, because I've got all the evidence, you know, and facts to back up my story. My version of reality. And, you know, it is reality. And what you said isn't real, Mom, because it's not true. Now, she was reacting. See, there was a reason that I said what I said and she said what she said. I mean, I wasn't just like I was just sitting there, you know, like, watching Wheel of Fortune and I just said something out loud and she reacted to it. I mean, there was something to build up to that point. We were watching the news. Oh, God forbid. Yes, we were watching Fox News. Oh, crap. I told her 100 times, don't watch that, Mom. It'll rot your brain. But she was watching, you know, she's stubborn. She's going to watch what she wants, which is fine, I guess. It's a free country. And that means she can watch CNN or Fox News or, you know, NBC or whatever. Because it's on her TV and she can turn it on and off and, you know, watch it. It's her TV. In her house. And if I don't like to, you know, if I don't want to watch it, then I don't have to sit in my mother's living room beside her and watch it. I can leave. You know, free country. I can get up and walk out of the house. Bye, Mom. I'm not going to stay here because there's Fox News is on and I'm not going to watch it. And I don't want to hear it because it's just bullshit. To be honest with you, some of it's not bullshit. But, generally speaking, Fox News will rot your brain. No, it won't. Well, chances are it won't. If you don't let it. But anyway, it's possible. It's just like a theory. That it's a theory that Fox News will rot your brain. I don't have any hard facts to give you there. I don't have any evidence to give you that to substantiate that statement. You could say that's my opinion. It's my opinion that Fox News will rot your brain if you listen to it too much. Okay, so we'll just accept that as an opinion. I don't do opinions a lot, occasionally, but mostly I don't do opinions. Anyway, so my mother says, yes, it is, and I'm like, there's no point in arguing with this woman. I mean, she's 90 years old, she's set in her ways, and she believes stuff that's not true. But anyway, like I said, we were talking about this, observing what was on this news channel, and I was watching it, and then they were saying stuff, and I'm like, what a bunch of shit. Sort of like my mother would say, that's not true. And I'm saying that through the television. And she's there, you're listening to me. And I'm like, the bastards. Oops, sorry, Mom. And I try not to swear in front of my mother. It's just, I'm sure she doesn't like it. It bothers her, maybe. I don't know. And although my grandmother thought saying shit ass was not cussing. Oddly enough. But anyway, my grandmother was approaching 90 at the time that this subject came up, and she was quite adamant there that no, because ass is like a donkey, and shit ass is like a word that's not separated by a hyphen or anything. It's like, shit is not cow shit. And that's not dirty. Anyway, I couldn't get anywhere with my grandmother either, by the way. Even as she was approaching, actually, 60, 70, 80, and 90, that, you just couldn't argue with her because she was just determined. I know what I know. And she wouldn't change her mind. So she lived and died believing in, for example, mythological nonsense, which, by the way, is something that probably should be in a museum with antiquities, and ancient superstitions, like things people believed back in the Stone Age. And surely humanity has evolved upwards to more knowledgeable, educated, enlightened, smarter kind of people than people who lived in trees and caves and shit. And, mud huts in, like, Egypt and places like that. You would think after, well, let's just say, just in a couple hundred years, people would have evolved a little bit. Certainly in 2,000 years, people would have evolved a little bit. Did you think that, it's the 21st century, wouldn't you think that people today would be like, just a little bit more smarter and a little bit more knowledgeable of reality? I mean, just nature and survival would probably prompt you to be a little bit more aware of reality. And I'm thinking, maybe more people are becoming more aware of it today. With more and more people becoming consciously aware of the absurdity of mythological nonsense. I mean, I like that phrase because It's mythological, meaning it's not real, and nonsense, meaning it's just a waste of time and bullshit. The problem is a lot of good people believe it. And when a lot of good people believe in nonsense, then you got a problem. And I'd like to say, nah, it's not a problem. But it is. It's dangerous in many ways because, nice people, I'm guessing here, that there were nice people in Salem, Massachusetts, back in, what was it, 1793 or something like that? I'm sure there were nice Christian people in Salem who, unfortunately, believed in mythological nonsense and murdered like 19 innocent people. Salem witch trials. Seriously. That's like a couple hundred years ago or whatever. 300 years ago? Okay, 1700, 18, 1900. Okay, a couple hundred years ago or so. Like American people in America, in the land of America, that's known for like freedom and shit. All men are created equal, including women, under the law, not necessarily in reality. Just say this, you think you're equal to me? Kiss my ass. I don't think so. Anyway, and why would you want to be equal to me? Because I'm like not that great in a lot of things. I'm not the smartest person in the world, so why would you want to be equal to me? If you wanted to be equal to somebody, wouldn't you want to be equal to like a genius? Well, I am kind of a genius, low level genius, but still. But that's beside the point. Why would you want to be equal to me? The problem with equality, I'm in favor of equality in the sense of, under the law, meaning the government has to treat everybody equally, and equally fair and just and with respect to their freedom. Which, by the way, the government of this country today does not do that. And speaking of this country today, the election. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, my God, humanity, Americans have gone stark raving mad. I'm sorry. Just the most bizarre election I have ever witnessed in my life. And I've witnessed a few. In my day, back in my day, well, today's still my day, by the way. I'm still alive, duh. But there were people like Ronald Reagan running for president of Alexander. What? Seriously? Yeah, well, he was governor. No, I'm still having a hard time with that one. Ronald Reagan was governor of a freaking state? Like, the number one chief executive in a whole freaking state? Like, where millions of people lived? This is the guy that sold 20 Mule Team Borax on freaking television. Jesus criminy. What's going on here? And this has been how many years ago? Like back in the 80s, right? Before a lot of you were born. Hard to imagine that, isn't it? It's hard for me to imagine the world without me in it. Really. If I'm not in it, that means I'm dead. Anyway, and I don't like that idea too much. Won't get into that death thing right now. Maybe I'll talk about that later in another show. All right, so yes, it is, and I'm like, no, it's not. Don't you understand the concept of freedom, Mom? Now, I'm not going to get into a big discussion with my mom because it'll get nasty. And I don't know, like I said, I don't want to upset my mother. She's old. She's, she's not going to change her ways, and besides, she's pretty much harmless. You know, she's not president. She's not running for president or vice president or, you know, senator, or governor, or any of that. She's just a woman who has lived a long life and has done things, lots of things. And my mother was riding motorcycles, well, on the back of a motorcycle with her boyfriend when she was like 74 years old. I'm like thinking, wow, that's just awesome. And I did my sonly duty. I did my duty as a son to my mother. I did tell the guy, her boyfriend at the time, who was in his 70s, late 70s, as I recall, or around, and maybe they were, I'm thinking she was maybe 10 years younger? No, I don't think. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. The point is, he rode his motorcycle, and he was pretty good at riding a motorcycle. I mean, I didn't go around having accidents with the motorcycle a lot. But I did worry about it, because motorcycles have a reputation for not being safe. You know, cars run into them and shit, because cars are driven by people that have no respect for motorcycles or motorcycle riders. And my brother will tell you about that, because he rides a motorcycle, and he's pretty cool. He also drives tractor trailers and heavy equipment. Well, before he retired. And I think that's a pretty awesome job, if you ask me. Not my thing. Not good at driving tractor trailers. And so, my mother's set in her ways, and a lot of people are set in their ways. And I've found over the years that it's kind of pointless to argue with people who have their mindset on I'm not very smart, or on that level of being, conscious, intellectual level of like lowest common denominator, you know, like the socialist collective agenda is trying to establish in America. Let's make everybody equal. That means drag all the smart people down to the dumb level and make them like, you know, feeble-minded and stupid. And they're actually Americans that actually say, yeah, I want that. I want equality. See, they don't want to rise up to the level of smart equality. They want everybody that's smart to come down to the stupid level of equality. You, all of you, be equal to me, and I'm stupid and dumb and uneducated, illiterate, and talk babble, read babble, and don't understand English. And I want to tell everybody what to do because I'm a bully. You know, like the government should make abortion illegal again. That's one of the stupid things that people believe. And some of them are politicians and governors and maybe even presidents. What the fuck? Well, there's hypocrisy for you. Hypocrisy in action. And I'm thinking a little bit of the devil. You know, hypothetically speaking. Because, I'm sorry, freedom. What part of freedom do you not understand here, people? Anyway, well, we want freedom of religion, but you don't want me to have that freedom. Because I think mythological nonsense is just stupid. And it is stupid. That could be an opinion. Doesn't matter. The point is, yes, it is. And I'm like, no, it's not, Mom, because don't you understand the concept of America? And apparently my mother hasn't been in high school for like a long time, you know what I mean? But I'm guessing that, you know, even if she was in high school a long time ago, which at this point were, you know, like way over half a century. Well, that would be me, because I haven't been in high school since 65. A long time ago. But if you know, didn't they teach you about America and the Constitution and about human rights, Mom? And I wouldn't talk to her about this, because anything I talk to you about my mother that I talk about with you folks, for example, is an argument, because she's going to be set in her ways and she's not going to change her mindset because that's the way she's been conditioned and brainwashed and indoctrinated and manipulated and jerked around and duped. For example, my mother thinks, oh, the way if you got to get married, you got to go down to the courthouse and get a marriage license. That's the way it's done. That's the only way to get married. You can't get married otherwise. Wrong, Mom. But that's what she thinks. Like a lot of people in America who have been brainwashed, duped, manipulated, jerked around, fucked over, and made stupid. Because that's not true. And I would say that to someone who said, marriage, you want to get married, you got to get a license. That's the rule. It's the law. It's the only way to get married. The only way to be legally married. And I'm like, no, it's not. As opposed to, yes, it is. Because I understand the law. And I understand the content. See, there's another thing. People say, I understand the law, I know what the law is, and then they say something that's not legal. I mean, they say something that's totally contradictory to what the law really is. Because they don't know the law. They just think they do. And it's difficult to talk to someone, have a conversation, without it escalating into an argument or a debate, an endless, pointless debate. People don't understand the concept of debate, by the way. Debate means you got a couple of sides, and this side says the negative part, and this side says the positive part, and then they prove it with statements, and like with arguments they call it, but it's not really an argument. It's like, here's my point, here's a fact, here's the truth. And the other side says, well, here's a lie, and here's something that's not true, but I'm putting it forth as true because I want you to change your mind and be a stupid person like me. Anyway, they go back and forth with it, my side, your side, my side, your side. And in the end, they're done. And theoretically, you've debated this to the point that you have all the facts on the table and all the lies and not untruth, and all the untruths on the table. And then we have to step back and say, let's conclude something here. That's the way it was when I was back in school. We had debate teams and we debated each other. And sometimes we didn't always get to pick our side. The teacher would say, you're going to be on that negative side and you're going to be on the positive side. And you're going to argue for this idea and you're going to argue against this idea. And I say, well, what the fuck? And anyway, that was the way they did it. And they just, you're going to be on that team. And I said, but I don't want to be on this team because I don't believe that. And how am I going to argue favorably for something if I don't believe it? And she said, it would teach you. It will teach you how to debate and do stuff like that. And I'm like, well, that just sucks. I want to be on the other team, that actually is intelligent and knows something about things. So anyway, everybody had to do it, and I did it, and it worked out all right, except for the fact that at the end, class is over. Class dismissed. And everybody just ran out of the room and went to the next class, and, that was that. Except for me, and I'm saying, excuse me, we haven't finished this debate yet. This is, we are now at the part where the argument on both sides has been put forward and put on the table, and now it's time to make a conclusion. Sort of like a scientific project. Like, we approach the situation and the question with scientific accuracy and truth, facts, details, evidence, sound, valid, logical arguments, except for the other team, which of course is just babbling like a bunch of monkeys. Anyway, you have to decide here, what's the truth? What is the conclusion? What have we decided, determined, and concluded as a result of this argument called a debate? Yes, kitty, I hear you. My kitty wants my attention. All right, take a break, be back. All right, kitty wanted outside. We're good to go. My cat loves me, by the way. All right. So you have your little debate, and you've got all your facts and opinions and shit on the table. Or as they say, all of the arguments about that subject on the table, or the question. And then you conclude. something. You say, well, this side said this is their opinion and this is their argument and this is logical to them, and I'm like, oh, no, it's not. They're wrong because that's not true. And the other team says, what are we going to do about this? And then you decide something. So let's say you got all the facts on the table, and then you look at the facts scientifically, logically, rationally, like a sane person, and you say, well, all of these statements are not true, and all of these statements are true. And we presented evidence to support the true statements, and we produced evidence in our arguments in the debate that those statements by that team are wrong and not true. So I have to conclude with this side of the team, this team over here, because this team over here actually said things that were factual, truthful, evidence, and logical, sound, based on the evidence and proven to be true. Whereas the other side didn't do any of that. So they're wrong. So I'm going to side with this team over here that says, this is true. Because they're believable. They have credibility. Their argument was true, sound, logical, factual. Whereas the other side was just babbling like freaking monkeys. It's not always that cut and dry. Sometimes both sides have something true to say, and they say it, and then they say something, and then one side says something stupid. And more often than not, in modern America, both sides say something stupid. Like, for example, president candidates. All right. There's like 4 or 5 candidates, on the list. There's like 400, really, maybe more. I don't know. But the only ones we ever hear about are the top 2, and maybe 1 or 2 of the others. Okay, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. Then we have the Libertarian Party. Then we have the Green Party. Then we have the other one, Constitutional Party. And I've looked at some of their platforms, their views of what presidents should be doing and so on. And I don't agree with most of them. I mean, I don't agree with any of those 5 people. There's like Stein, Clinton, Trump, Gary Johnson. Well, Gary Johnson out of the group. Gary Johnson sort of, and there's Darrell Castle. And his running mate, whatever his running mate's name is. Like, who cares? No one's going to vote for you anyway. Maybe 4 people. Anyhow, which is a shame. They should be given top billing as well as the other 2. We should have that choice. Duh. So anyway, my segment's up, so I'm going to stop here, take a break, just restart the machine, and continue going. Okay? All right. I'll be back in a minute. In the second segment, you'll have to, click on the second segment of today if you want to hear the second part of this show. All right? So, stopping now. Catch you on the flip.